Today's all about the minis, miniature decor pieces that is. So I've got 3 farmhouse style mini decor pieces that can be used on a tiered tray or a little vignette anywhere in your home. So grab a snack and settle in and let's get started. For my first project, I'm using this leftover pine cone from my holiday decor stash from last year. I actually got this from my yard, and it's one from a large batch that I had whitewashed using the same method I'm about to show you now, only now I'm using a green wash. I added a little bit of green paint to a Ziploc bag and then added some water and mixed it together. I think it's about 1 part paint to 3 parts water. I added the pine cone in the bag and shook it around to make sure it got into all the nooks and crannies, and that's really it. I just set it aside to dry. Now, while that is drying, I grabbed this little clay pot that comes in a pack of 3 from Dollar Tree and gave it a quick coat of the plaster color by Waverly. Once that had dried, I decided that I wanted to add a little dimension, so I dry brushed on a little bit of the ink color, also by Waverly, and then used my favorite tool, which isn't even really a craft tool at all. Baby wipes work really well for blending paint. Now, you know me, I like to add a little embellishment to my projects, so next I added a little black and white buffalo check ribbon around the rim of the pot. Then I added a shorter piece of ribbon on top and looped each side around to make it look like a small bow. And that's literally it. The pine cone fit perfectly into the pot. I didn't even need to glue it or add a riser or anything. It was like it was meant to be. And here it is on my counter. I just love how this turned out, and the green wash added just the perfect hint of color to make it look like a little evergreen tree. For my next project, I'm keeping with my tree theme and creating a little stamped canvas pillow. I grabbed a piece of canvas drop cloth that I had left over from a previous project. And then I don't have any holiday shaped stamps, but I thought the top of this fern piece from the Dollar Tree looked a lot like a Christmas tree, so I'm just going to use that. I tested out a few different methods and colors, and what I found worked best was using paint instead of actual ink. I wanted it to look authentically old, but like the last project, I wanted the stamps to have a slightly green tint. I was able to reach my desired look by first brushing on some black acrylic paint and then following it with a light coat of the same green paint that I used in my last project, which is the color Bright Green by Folkart. I placed the leaf paint side down, and then in order to avoid smudges, I used another piece of canvas to press it down, but you can use whatever paper or material you have on hand for that. While I'm stamping, I'll mention that today's challenge is hosted by Corie from Crafted by Corie. I'll have a link to her channel as well as the playlist in the description box below, so be sure to check out her channel and then hop to the playlist to see what everyone comes up with. I've never actually created a tiered tray before, which I know is super weird considering my farmhouse theme for my channel. So I'm excited to see what everyone else's projects look like, and maybe it'll inspire me to actually do a tiered tray one of these days. Next, I took a thin brush and using the same black acrylic craft paint, I lightly brushed on trunks for my trees. I mean, this is no Bob Ross original piece, but I'm loving how this is coming together. So now I'm just drawing a rough frame for my pillow, and this is going to be a no-sew pillow, so I plan to use hot glue to attach it. And I find it easiest to glue first, then cut later, so that I don't have to take any extra care in lining up the pieces. I ran a line of glue along the first edge and placed the other piece of fabric on top. Then I folded back the fabric and worked in sections, gluing along the horizontal edges. I only glued the 3 sides of the box down, and after cutting the excess fabric away, turned the pillow right side out. I had leftover polyfill from other projects, so I just used that, but I've even used plastic grocery bags or scraps of fabric in the past as filler, so use whatever you have. I folded over the ends to make a finished edge and then glued them together, and my little mini pillow was complete. And here it is on my counter. I love this so much, and I like that it's wintry without being too Christmassy, so it can work with my other decor all the way through the winter season. Now on to my final project, and since I want these to be able to work together, I'm keeping with the green theme. I love all the wood bead garlands that I'm seeing around, so I decided to see if I could create a fabric version. I grabbed my wood bead collection from Dollar Tree and lined the biggest ones up on a skewer. Next, I went through my stash of holiday fabric from last year and found this scarf from Dollar Tree. I rolled the fabric around the skewered beads to see about how much fabric I would need to create a tube and determined that it was about 2.5 inches, including a little excess for gluing. I thought that the plaid stripe down the middle of the scarf had the most visual interest and discovered from measuring that it was exactly the width that I needed to wrap the beads. Then I left the beads on the skewer so that they wouldn't move around too much and rolled the fabric around them and glued it down. I worked in 4 to 6 inch sections, moving the skewer down as I went. Once I got to the end, I removed the skewer but left the beads loose inside the tube. And then for the end, I made a loop out of twine and glued it into the inside of the fabric. Then I took some more twine and wrapped that around the end of the fabric so that you couldn't see where the fabric ended and the twine began. Next, I pushed the first bead down so that it was flush to the twine on the end and twisted the fabric around to hold it tight. I held it in place with a larger paper clip and then wrapped the fabric with more twine to create a break between the beads. I realized after a couple of beads that I didn't like the twist method. I just felt that it showed the glued part of the fabric more than I liked. Instead, I figured out that looping the twine around itself and tying it held the bead in place enough. So I overlapped the twine and tied it on the back seam side of the beads, and then just wrapped the excess strands around and glued them also in the back. This worked well and was much faster too. So I recently passed another milestone for my channel, 1,500 subscribers, woohoo! And this month I'll celebrate my channel's first birthday. I guess I need to get a birthday cake or something. I've learned so much during this time about lighting and editing and voiceovers and thumbnails and so much more. It's been challenging but so fun, and I've also gotten to know so many other wonderful creators. That's why I love doing these challenges. It's a way to support other channels as well. So, if you like what you see, I'd love for you to like, comment, and hopefully subscribe so I can continue to grow my channel. When I hit 2,000, I'm definitely going to do another Amazon giveaway like I did at 1,000. So, share, and help me get there. When I got to the end, I glued another loop to the inside of the fabric and then wrapped it with twine so that the end of the fabric was no longer visible. And here it is on my counter. I love this little spin on the beaded garland, and I can see this working with lots of different decor all the way through the winter season or even beyond. So there you have it, 3 minis to help you transition into your holiday decor. Let me know in the comments which project you like the best, and if you found me from the minis playlist, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the bell so you can stay up to date with my content. I have a lot up my sleeve for the coming weeks that you won't want to miss, so stay tuned. See you next time. Bye.